Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Monique. If you are new here, please click the subscribe button below to join our sewing community. And to my lovely subscribers, thank you so much for your continued support. In today's tutorials, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful halter neck ruffle dress with a smocked waist. So let's get right into it. This is a 3 yards of a soft cotton fabric. I'll be using this for this tutorial. So before then, I'll be drafting it on the pattern paper. So I've gone ahead to draft the basic bodice half scale. I already have a video on how to do this. I'll be dropping the link on the description box. So I have the front and back panel. Now the first thing I'm going to do, so this is the shoulder to chest line, shoulder to bust line. The only measurement I added is the shoulder to under bust, and also this is the shoulder to waist line. The basic neck depth is 3 by 3 inches, and for the back is 3 by 1 inch. So I'll be altering this neckline. So I'm going to make it 3.5. That's the neck width. I'll be using 3.5 inches. Then from this point, I'm going to slant my measurement tape like this. So I'll be taking the neck depth. I'll be using 10 inches. So I'll go ahead and connect it. Then from this point, I'm going to use 2 or 2.5 inches. So I'll use 2 inches for the halter neck. So I'll just go ahead and connect it to the armhole. So I'll be using my pattern master to do that. So afterwards, on the underbust, I'll come up by 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to connect it to the same underbust line. So I have this, so that means I'll be cutting it from here. That's on this underbust line. Now another thing, I repeated the same thing. I took the shoulder to chest line and the shoulder to waistline on the back panel. I'll be adding, because of the style we are making, from the waistline I used from the shoulder to waist I used 17 inches. So I'll be adding extra 2 inches so that it will come down a little. That means our shoulder to waist will be 19 inches. So I'm adding 2 inches all the way from the front panel to the back panel. So the reason why I'm doing this is so we don't have a very short band, because we are going to make a smoke effect on the band. So I want it a bit longer. So on the back, please don't mind this line I took. It's not important. So for the back, I'm going to repeat what I did from the underbust to the waist. So I have around 5 inches. So I'm going to mark it on the back panel because I want the back and front panel to align. So I'll be cutting it through this part. So we'll have same length on the front and back. Now I'm going to make a little correction on the armhole. So remember I took 2 inches from the neck width. I'm going to connect it all the way to the underbust so that it will tally with the back. The back is just only from the band we are cutting out. That is from this underbust here to the waistline here. That is all we need for the back. So if I use this exact armhole, it's not going to work. So that is why I'll have to alter this armhole and connect it all the way to the underbust line. I don't know if that makes sense. So I'll be using my hip curve ruler to do that. So from this point, I'll just take it like a curvy straight line to the underbust line so that by the time we sew it, it will tally with the back panel. I hope you understand. So this part is going to have like a band that is on that shoulder part. So I'll go ahead and cut it so that you understand what I'm doing. So I'll start cutting it from the underbust here. So I'm starting with the front panel. So this is the neck line. I forgot to mention we did a V neckline. So we have this. Then for those parts on the front, all I need is this part here. And also on the back. So all I need is this band. So I don't need this other part. So this is all I need. So what I'll do is either you cut through this line and cut out 2, or you just join them together and cut it out. So I'll prefer to cut the front and back together. So I'm removing the excess. So this other part doesn't really matter because we're going to be adding elastic to the band. So it will just be okay. So I'll be cutting this like this. I'll use my masking tape to secure it. So So this is the back and this is the front panel. It's now one piece, so we are cutting the band on one piece. I have around 19 inches. Now I'll just cut through this line. We are going to make like a slash and spread. So I'll get the midpoint of the shoulder. It's 1 inch. So but before then, let me just cut out this extra. We don't really need it because we'll be drafting it on the fabric, so that we can easily open the panel without the other one disturbing or disrupting us. So I'll cut through this line and I'll stop before the end of the shoulder. Then I'm going to open it up like this. So I'll be placing it on the fabric so that you understand. So this is the fabric. It's going to be on a fold. So I've placed the front panel on it. Then as you can see what I'm doing, I'm trying to get a band on the shoulder. So I'm using about 11 or 12 inches for the band. So I think 11 inches is just okay. So I'm going to open this up. I'm cutting it on a fold. So the center front is on a fold. Then I'm going to I open this part by 4 inches so that we can make the ruffles on that part. So I'll just go ahead and maybe I'm using 2 inches on this side. I'll go ahead and connect it with my fabric chalk. Then I'll be cutting through this line. So I'll add a little, maybe like 1/4 inch for sewing allowance. So I'll start cutting it from here like this. I'm following exactly what I have on the pattern, but I added just 1/4 inch. So as you can see, I've extended the shoulder so that we can tie it on the neckline, or I beg your pardon, on the neck. Now, so this is the front panel. So this is the neck and this is where we're tying. So now on the band, I'm going to do the same thing. The fabric is on a fold, so I'll just add maybe like 1/4 inch for seam allowance also. So I times it by 2 inches. You can either use 1.5 or 2 inches. Just times this because I have excess. If you notice, like because of the dart and the seam allowance I left, I have excess. So I'll just be timesing it by maybe 1.5 inches so that it will not be too long. So after I times it, I think I have around 70 inches long. So I'm just tracing what I have, and we have this. So as you can see, this is the center front where I did a little curve earlier. So now I'll be attaching a thread, an elastic thread, to create that smoke effect on the panel. So this is the stretchy thread we'll be using to do that. So I'll take it to the sewing machine and explain what I'm going to do. So this is the bobbin. I'm going to roll it with my hand because you can't reel it on your machine because it's stretchy. So I'll just use my hands to roll it. I've done about 2 or 3. So I'm just trying to explain it to you. So I have this. So you place it on the bobbin case and fix it under. But the top part, you're going to use the normal thread. So I'm going to start sewing it, but I'll be leaving 1/2 inch on each side. So as you can see, it's naturally gathering because of the elastic thread under. So continue sewing it by 1/2 inch. I left 1/2 inch on the top part before sewing it. So I'll turn it over like this and I'll give a space of another 1/2 inch before I continue sewing the elastic thread to it. So I'm repeating the same thing I did earlier, but I'm giving a space of 1/2 inch. So after I get to the end, I'll turn it over again like so, but I'll make sure the needle is inside. Then I'll give a space of 1/2 inch and I'll continue again. So I'll continue until I finish. When I'm done, I'll show you. So guys, we are done. So this is what we have. So I'll take it to the table and explain. Okay, so this is what we have. I think I made around 10 stitch, like 10 lines to achieve this. So this is the center front here. So as you can see, it has like a little curve here. So I'll be placing it on the top part. It's going to be like this. But before I do that, I'm going to make a loose stitch here so that I can make some ruffles. So I'll give a little space on the center front, about 3 inches space before creating the ruffles. So I'll give 3 inches space. So I'll go ahead and make a loose stitch before making the ruffles. So I've done that. So I'll just pick one of the threads, then I'm going to pull it to create some little ruffles to give our dress that effect so that it will not be too big. So I've done that. I forgot to mention I cut out two. One is going to serve as the facing, that's like lining on the dress. So I've cut out two, and I've also created the same ruffles on the second part. So I'll join them together and I'll be sewing it on the neckline all the way by 1/4 inch, and I'll also be sewing the armhole all the way to the end. So also the shoulder part also. So after that, I'm going to leave this side open where I'll be turning it out. I'm going to measure what I have here. So half of the underbust, my underbust is 31, half will give us 15.5. So I think I have around 16 inches. So I've gone ahead to join the neckline and also the armhole. So I'll pull it out from this side I left open. So we have this, I've turned it to the good side. So I've also gone ahead to give it a good press. So I also stitched this top part here, and I turned it to the good side. So I also went ahead to top stitch this part so that it will be one piece. So I've top stitched it. Then like I said, I want it to be around 16 inches wide. That is this part here. So I think I have around 16 inches. That is half of the underbust. Remember, the back is open. That is why. So if I have any excess, I might just split it. I think I have around 17 inches there. I'll split the excess. So now on the band, so I forgot to mention also the band is 32 inches after making the smoke effect. It's 32 inches. So I'm marking 8 inches here. That is from the center front. I marked 8 inches on both sides. So 8 inches, that simply means I have 16 inches on from this side to the other side. So I'm placing it this way. That is making sure the center front aligns with the center front of the band. So I'm going to place it together like this. So I'll be sewing it and I'll make sure I place it on this part I marked, this 8 inches mark. I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'll place it on this 8 inches mark. So I'll turn good side to good side, and I'm going to be sewing it together here. I'll place it on the center front. So I'll pin it up. So I'll also pin it up. Let it be on the 8 inches mark. So I'll go ahead and sew it by 1/2 inch all the way to this other point. So after I do that, on the top part here, this top part is open. So I'm going to double fold it like this, and I'm going to sew it so that it will be neat. But if you have a weaving machine, that will be better. You can just go ahead and weave this top part so that it doesn't look rough. So I'll just double fold it and sew it by 1/2 inch. What I did here from the beginning here, I'll stop it here and I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. So this is the other side. I'm going to double fold it like this. I'll sew it on the wrong side, then I'll top stitch it and show you. So guys, I've done that. I've attached the band to the top. So this is what we have. So this is the band, then this is the back panel. So the excess, I measured it. I wanted 32 inches, then I stitched the excess by 1 inch on the center back. I hope you understand. So this is the band. Like I said, the back is going to be open. Now I'm going to be creating the lower part. So we have 19 inches. Remember, we added 2 inches to our half length, so I have 19 inches from the shoulder, and I need my dress to be 38 inches. So half of 38 will give me 19 inches. So I'll be cutting the lower part by 19 inches. Remember, I said 38. When I remove 19 from 38, I'll have extra 19 inches. So this is the band. I've gone ahead to cut 2. Remember, we're cutting out 2. It's a double flare. So this longer one is the exact 19 inches. I added 2 inches for seam allowance, and I went ahead to hem the full length. So I think I have around 20 inches. Now on the lower parts, that's the one that is going to be on top, I have around 12 inches. I also went ahead to hem it. So I'll be joining the 2 panels together. That is the shorter and the longer band. So I've also times it by 2.5. That's the waist, 32 divided by sorry, 32 times 2.5, so I have around 70 something inches for the length of the dress. So I'm going to top stitch this part, that's the two panel. I'll top stitch it so that it will be one piece. Then I'll also make a loose stitch for the ruffles. So guys, I've done that. I've top stitched it and also made a loose stitch. So I also went ahead to hem the lower parts. So we have this, we have like one piece. So after making a loose stitch, I'll just go ahead and create the ruffles by pulling it this way. So I'll do that until I get to the end of the panel. So we have this. So the waist, the round waist is 32 inches, but I made this 35 inches wide. The reason why I did that is because I want it to have excess, because if I just use the exact 32 inches on the band, it's going to be tight. So I added extra 2 inches, so that makes it 34. But I also added extra 1 inch, so I made it 35 because I'll be using 1 inch for seam allowance. So this round is 32 inches, the round of the band, but I made the lower part, that's the skirt part, 34 inches, so that when I join it, it will not be too tight, it will have ease. So from here to the other end, we have 35 inches, so I'll be using 1 inch for seam allowance. By the time I join it on the center back here, I'll be left with 34 inches. So that means my 2 extra inches is still intact. So I've joined the center back and I have this. So the round I have here, the round waist is 34 inches wide. So this is where I joined the center back, and this is the ruffles, like our 2 layers ruffles. So now on the elastic band here, I have 32 inches. So I'm going to place it. If you notice, we can easily stretch it so that it will fit the lower part. So I'll get the center back of the lower part and also the center back of the band, and I'm going to place it together, good side to good side. So I've also forgot to mention that I've also top stitched the top part that I told you I was going to double fold by ½ an inch. I've done that. So now I'm going to place this here like so. So this is the center back. I'll place it with the band here, so good side to good side. So after doing this, I'll tuck it in like this. So I'll be sewing it around. But please, when you are sewing it, don't sew the band, don't sew the elastic band, sew it on the skirt, because if you do it, it will be too stretchy. Make sure you sew on the skirt and not on the elastic band. I hope you understand. So let me repeat it. Don't sew on the elastic, sew on the skirt, so that it doesn't stretch too much. So I'll just make sure it fits, and I'm going to sew it all the way and show you. So guys, I've done that. I've attached the lower part to the waist. So this is the V-neck, this is the stretchy band. So this is the back part. This is the part I hemmed by ½ an inch. Like I said, you can also weave it. So because I made the round waist 34 instead of 32, you can easily wear it because it has some ease. So you can also be weaving all this part. I'll be doing that later on. So guys, we've come to the end. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned something new today. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss more beautiful designs like this. Until next time, thanks for watching, guys.